Eastland County Today Live, brought to you by Love Oak Pharmacy.
Introducing Love Oak Pharmacy's Pharmacy in a Box. We can fix your prescription mess. We offer all of these innovative services at no cost to you. Simplify your life. Your medication can be pre-sorted and organized into personalized pill packets. Each dose is labeled by day and time to make medication time simple. We'll help you pick up all of your monthly medication in one single visit to the pharmacy. This convenient refillable storage container is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Easily take your medication with you wherever you go. Transferring your prescriptions is easy. Just give us a call and talk to one of our knowledgeable pharmacists. We will coordinate with your doctors and insurance and proactively manage your refills. We will notify you before your next delivery. Let Love Oak Pharmacy help you simplify your life. We look forward to your visit.
You're ready.
Ready? Good morning. Glad to have you with us here today. We're with Connie Hovey, who has opened Connie's Critters Animal Rescue. And we're going to be talking with her about what she has in mind and what she's already doing, obviously. You had a grand opening back in the middle of September.
Yes, sir, and we were full before the grand opening ever was.
I take it, first of all, you love animals.
Yes, sir. Always
Okay,
have.
this is an animal rescue, private, no kill.
Yes, sir.
What do you do with them?
I keep them.
You feed them, you keep them?
I feed them. I provide any vet care that's necessary for them. Until they have a home to go to, they will stay with me.
I suspect you're encouraging adoption,
Yes, sir. I very much encourage.
donation to help feed.
Well, food is not my major problem. Food, I provide myself. I buy 500 pounds at a time.
Truckloads.
My major thing I've been pushing the last several weeks, I need blankets and I need towels. Anything an animal can sleep on that is washable.
Discarded linens and things.
Yeah, old things. We don't care if it has holes in it.
Yeah.
Dogs are just going to sleep on it.
Yeah.
But it has to be washable. I have all the appliances at my shelter that I need. I have bought everything. I have freezers, refrigerators, washers, dryers. Everything you can imagine that your house would have, I have at my shelter. But I need blankets and I need towels. And of course, we always take donations for vet bills and things like that.
Well, I mean, is there a veterinarian in Ranger?
No, there's not.
I was not aware of one, but
I use both of the vets' offices in
here.
Ranger. I mean in
in
Eastland.
Eastland
Yes.
and out on the highway.
Out
Right.
on the highway.
Well,
yes.
we have two very good veterinarian clinics.
Yes.
They stay busy, so
They sure do.
now
I'm one of their major customers.
they smile when they see you come.
Yes, sir.
Well, as I understand it, and the way it's been brought to me is that the city of Ranger found that I guess they just couldn't afford to provide
Well,
a shelter.
no, that's not really true. Over the years that I have lived there, when
Are
that-
you a native there?
No, sir. I
okay.
moved there 12 years ago to take the job that I still currently have. And I was friends with the police chief at that time. And they were building the brand new animal shelter. This was back in 2006. And he asked me if I would do him a favor and run that animal shelter for him until he could hire an animal control officer.
Right.
So I was actually the very first person to ever use this brand new animal shelter. And I ran it for him for approximately a year. And then I ran it several other times during the next few years. Yeah. And then when I was elected to the city council about 5 years ago, the mayor said, Connie, I would like you to be in charge of the animal
Are you
shelter.
still on the commission?
No, sir.
You're not,
out.
okay.
I did my 2-year term and I left.
Right, okay.
But during that time, I ran it for 2 years while I was in office. And then just recently, it's been a big pet peeve of mine over all these years that every time the city hires someone to be an animal control officer, they spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars certifying these people, sending them to school, getting their licenses, getting everything they need, and the minute all of that is done, they go take a job somewhere else that pays more. That has always been an issue that I have always detested.
Objected to, yeah.
And this time when it happened, I just said, all right, self, we got to do something about this. So Mr. Mayor, Joe Pilgrim, happened to walk in the store, and I called him off to the side. I said, Joe.
Well, you run a convenience store,
Yes,
right?
sir.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And I pulled him off to the side, and I said, Joe, I said, I'm so tired of this city having to waste money training people and getting them licensed and getting their certifications just to have them walk out. It costs a lot of money to do that.
And there's no commitment on their part.
No, and Ranger struggles. Ranger
Well,
struggles.
all of these cities.
You know,
yeah.
we are just struggling to make our financial obligations now.
Sure.
I said, Joe, go talk to your city manager. See if he would be willing to lease that building to me and just let me run it privately. And I said, depending on what he wants for a lease, we will work this out. So he goes firing up there, and he fires right back to me, and he said, how's $1 a year? I said, I think I could probably borrow that dollar from somebody. So anyway, we worked it out to where I insured my volunteers and have liability insurance for anyone that might accidentally come down there and get hurt or
Sure.
dog bit or cat scratched or,
Yeah.
you know, whatever might happen.
I guess you have to have that.
It's a real good idea.
Sure.
It sure is, especially where animals are involved, because you can't always control what happens. But anyway, we put it through the council and it passed. So I now have my lease for 1 year, and we will renew it yearly, and it costs the city nothing. The city
and
brings.
I am told that the city ranger now has good animal control.
Well, our police department is actually responding to animal calls, and our agreement was if they pick the animal up, they bring it to me. 3 days after it hits my door, if it's not reclaimed by its owner, it then belongs to me. And it will not get put down. Nothing will happen to that animal until I find it a home. And right now I have about 15 dogs in my shelter.
How many cats?
I have 1 cat in the shelter, and I have 2 cats at home, and I have a great big giant blind black bunny rabbit at the shelter. He was raised in a little tiny cage on top of the ladies' dining room table. And he got too big for the cage. So she brought him to me, and I put him in our cat room, and he's just enjoying life. Just zipping and running and having a good time.
You're an absolute joy to visit with.
I love
you're
animals.
animated.
I love
You're
animals.
just
You want to
delightful.
talk animals? I will talk all day. But there are two kinds of animals I will not mess with. I won't mess with a wild animal, and I won't mess with a reptile.
No.
I'm terrified of snakes. I
Right.
will not mess
Now you
with one.
mentioned in your conversation volunteers. You have friends who are like-minded,
Yes, sir, I
and
do.
they want to take care of animals,
Yes, sir, I do.
discarded animals.
Yes. Yes.
How people can just put them out on the street, I'll never understand.
Well, in my situation, I can be more helpful than a city agency can, like Eastland or Cisco, because they are not allowed to take animals from outside their city limits.
True.
I can do whatever I want to.
You're an independent operator.
If it's out there on County Road 101 and it's been dumped, I can go get it.
I expect there is a lot of that.
There
That's
is a
the
whole
normal
bunch of that.
procedure. Take them to the country and kick them out.
Yeah, that's why there's 15 of them in my shelter. And I have a waiting list of people wanting to give me their dogs. But, until I have an available kennel, I can't take any more. So somebody has to get adopted before I can bring any
Okay,
more in.
let's talk about adoption. This you encourage. You encourage would-be owners to come, look, pick.
I do.
And
I encourage them to come several times. If you're interested in this one particular dog, come down, take that dog out in our yard and play with it. Get to know it. Go home, think about it. Come back again. make sure that this is what you want to commit to,
Yeah.
and make sure you have a fenced yard, because you're not going to tie one of my dogs up by its neck. That is
No.
that is not going to happen.
No.
You have to have a fenced yard for this animal if you want it. I don't believe in tying up an animal. I'd like to tie up all the people that tie up their dogs.
Yeah. What about the health of the animal? You obviously get unhealthy animals.
We do, but
You take them to a vet.
yes, I found a kitten about 3 weeks ago in the drive-through at the bank. This kitten had been run over, and its back left leg was broken. I raced it over to the Lazy 3. Dr. Browning said, "What are you going to do with it?" I said, "What are you going to do with it?" He said, "Well, let's go x-ray it." So we went back, we x-rayed the kitten, and it showed a real bad break. And I said, "Well, what do we do now?" He said, "Well, we got to put a pin in it, or we got to put the cat down." I said, "What's a pin going to cost?" He said, "Oh, probably $500. I said, "Okay, let's do it." And he said, "Well, let's make sure it doesn't have feline leukemia first, because that's a fatal disease." So he ran the test, and sure enough, it didn't have it. So I said, "Fix the cat and help me find a home for the cat, because I'm allergic to cats." Okay? I said, "I will pay for the cat, but you got to find it at home." So he pinned the cat's leg, and this lovely lady that just opened the new Love Oak Pharmacy right down the street here, she adopted the cat.
That would be Ben's wife?
Yes.
Okay.
$499.03. Don't forget the 3 cents now to pin this cat's leg.
And she took it home.
And she took it home.
Well, knowing her, she will take good care of it.
That's why she got it.
When I see her, I'll ask her
But
about
that kind of thing right there is what I use my donation money for. I don't use my donation money to buy parvo shots or feed the animals. I pay for all that myself.
What about shots on dogs that come in?
Everyone gets a parvo shot when it walks through your front door. Every one of them. You can't have parvo spread around your kennel. It'll kill everybody in there.
What is that?
It's a terrible disease that
Prevalent?
is very prevalent. There's several different strains of it. There used to be a 3-in-1. There used to be a 5-in-1 shot. Now there's 7, 8, and 9-in-1 shots, which it covers all of those different strains in one shot. But it's very deadly, and it attacks puppies mostly. But if you get a bad outbreak of it, it can spread to even adult dogs. It'll kill
So
them.
is it's passable just by association?
It's passable just if I walked in someone's yard that had it in their yard, and I walked in that shelter, I could transfer it to my shelter in my shoes. It's
Is the public aware of this?
most people that have animals are very aware of it.
They need need to be aware.
Yes, it's terrible disease. It's terrible. And of course, rabies is also very, very prevalent.
Seen any recent? Have you seen any?
Last year, I had a rabid cat in my next door neighbor's yard, and one skunk was reported positive in Ranger. The skunk was sent off for testing and came back positive. But a rabies shot costs $12. You can protect your animal from rabies for $12.
Let's say a stray cat comes to my house. What do I need to do?
First thing I would do would be take it to a vet and if you plan on keeping it. If you don't plan on keeping it,
bring it to you.
Bring a shelter. Bring it to a shelter.
Yeah.
Ranger's cat population is just outrageous because they're all allowed to run loose. They all propagate amongst each other. 99% of them have feline leukemia, which transfers through the litters. And they're all very, very unhealthy animals. But Ranger has never instituted ordinances on cats. Cats are considered free-range animals.
Is that true in most towns?
Well, most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them. Ranger does have...
I don't think Eastman picks up cats.
Yeah. Ranger has a 5-dog limit. You're allowed to have 5 dogs inside the city.
Inside the city.
Inside
Okay.
the city limits. And that's not enforced. Nobody enforces anything.
Well, does your police department, they work with you when they go out and have to pick up, they immediately take them to
They
you?
bring them to me, day, night, whatever. It doesn't make any difference. One phone call.
Yeah.
They call me. I meet them down there. I do an intake on the animal. I judge whether or not it's healthy, whether it needs to go to a vet, if it's vicious, if it's, you know.
What if it's vicious?
If it's vicious, I cannot handle it. I have one quarantine kennel, which is reserved strictly for rabies quarantine. If this animal has bit someone, it comes to me and it goes in that quarantine kennel for 10 days. I judge its health twice a day, every day. And at the end of that 10-day period, I call a vet over. The vet judges its health. He clears it of having any signs of rabies. It can be returned to its owner. And then the police department takes it up from there about, you know, what they have to do to control that animal.
Yes.
Since it's already bitten someone, they're probably going to get a ticket because their dog bit someone.
Yes.
You know, the police department handles all that. But if they bring it to me, and it's just a normal run-of-the-mill stray dog, like that deaf pit bull, 3 days after he's there, he's mine. And they picked up a pit bull 3 weeks ago on the front porch of the post office.
A pit bull.
A white one, beautiful dog. They picked him up after they maced him because he was sitting on the front porch of the post office and would not allow anybody to go in the post office.
Ooh.
So the police were called and the officer went over there and the dog charged him. So he maced him. And then the dog ran off in the bushes and he came to me and we got the catch pole and all that, and he caught him with the catch pole, got him out of the bushes. We took him to the vet, got all the mace cleaned off of him. He brought him back to me. I said, the only reason this dog attacked you is because he's deaf. He's scared to death of you because he can't hear you. And now he knows me. He knows most of my volunteers. The manager at the grocery store and Ranger is his very best friend in the whole world. That dog loves that man. They get out there in the yard and they rip and run and play and jump.
Is he one of your volunteers?
He's one of my volunteers, yes. And that dog adores him. And I've been trying to talk him into adopting him, but he has 7 other dogs. And he's a little concerned that having that dog with the other dogs might not work out.
Might not work, that's right.
But we named him Mace because he got maced. And he will stay with us. He's young. He's possibly a year old. He will stay with us till the end of his days if Steve doesn't take him home.
Now you said it is a pit.
Yes. He is
Are
a
they as
full-blood pit.
dangerous?
I
Or
don't have-
are they just
They have a bad rap, and it honestly, I always believe, I don't care what breed of dog it is, it's the way they're raised. You know, I've had every breed of dog in the whole world in my life, and I've never had a vicious dog. I've never had a dog that would bite anybody, except for a little bitty Yorkie about this big. That little heifer, I had her 17 years. She bit everybody that walked through my front door except my mother and myself. But she was so tiny, she couldn't really bite you. She just kind of thumped you on your ankle. She was an ankle biter. But my sister lived in the house and still got bit every time she walked in. It depends on the dog.
I perceive that you are an animal lover.
Yeah, I didn't care if my sister got bit every day.
But what's the background before you came to Ranger?
I spent 30 years living in Washington State with a military husband, raising my children, and then half my grandchildren. And my husband passed away. And my sister, my whole family's from Texas. I'm originally from Austin. I was born there. So
you just came home.
I came home,
Yeah.
yes. And it was the only way I could make my son grow up. My son wouldn't leave home. He just stayed there forever. And when he brought his girlfriend and then he brought more children and more children and more children, I said, I've had enough.
Was this in Washington?
This was in Washington,
okay.
yes. So
That's when you moved.
I got up one morning, went and got a U-Haul truck, backed up to the front door and started loading it up. And he came out of his bedroom and he said, "Mom, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm moving." He said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Texas." He said, "What about me?" I said, "I suggest you get a job." And I left.
You not only know how to handle animals, you know how to handle sons.
Well, the son was almost 30 and wouldn't leave. You know, so I said, "Mama has to make you grow up sometime."
How's he doing?
He's great. He got a job. His girlfriend.
He's happy, and so are you.
His girlfriend left him, and he wound up with custody of his 2 daughters. He remarried. He's got a lovely wife who has 2 little boys. He's got 2 girls, and the whole world's happy. But it took me leaving to do that.
Well, one does what one has to do.
With their children.
Yes, absolutely.
He sure did.
Well, I think it's a given that you are an unusual person, and I admire you for what you're doing. And I would think that the people in Ranger would appreciate it beyond belief.
They do. They really do. I've got a bunch of lovely people that support me. I've got one lady that volunteers for me, goes down there Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to noon. She's there. She's cleaning kennels. She's doing laundry.
They help feed and
Clean
check and
kennels.
watch
She's there every day, Monday through Friday. And then I go down in the afternoon. My job requires me to be there 10 hours a day.
right.
So when I get off work, that's the first place I go. I go back down there. I re-clean anything that needs to be cleaned up. I feed everybody their supper. And then I go home and take care of the 12 dogs and the 2 cats and my sister at home. And we just do this every day. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I'm off from my job, so I'm down there all day on Saturday and Sunday. So those dogs are not left alone a whole lot. Those dogs get a lot of
They're a
attention.
lot of attention. Well, that's
And
wonderful.
on the 15th of this month, we're having our very first adoption event at Tractor Supply, starting 10 o'clock in the morning.
Well, now we will want to publicize that for you.
That would be great.
We
Yes,
want to do
we will
that.
be there with a bunch of our dogs and probably any kitty cats we have. We might even bring the big black blind bunny rabbit. You know, we don't.
Well, nothing but dogs and cats. You don't have any. You said you don't take any wild animals.
I don't take wild animals. No.
Okay.
You know, I used to take in baby raccoons and stuff and raise them. I just don't have time anymore. I do not have time for that anymore. And it's really not a good idea to do unless you know what you're doing, because rabies is so prevalent
Yeah.
in the wild animal population in this town.
Mm.
You know, you've got to be very careful. Best thing to do with a wild animal is call a game warden.
Yes, and let them take it.
Let
from
them
there.
take it to a rehabilitation. You know, they have people that do that for
Yeah,
them.
they're specialists. That's
Yes,
right.
yes.
Well, this county, in my opinion, has a really fine game warden.
He is. He's a fine guy.
Well known and well liked by everybody I've ever talked to.
Exactly.
So that's
It takes a special person to do the
Well,
kind
yes,
of thing
it's
that
sort
we
of-
do.
kind of like you. It takes a special person to take care of dogs and cats.
Yeah.
Other people's dogs and
You know,
cats.
I've always said I love dogs. I love your dog. You know, and I don't even know your dog. But
Yeah.
if it needed me, I'd be there for it. You know,
Well,
dogs. My mother used to just beat me. When I was little, I would drag home everything I could find.
I can
And
imagine.
she told me one time, she said, "You drag home another animal," or she said, "Carry." She said, "You carry home another animal, I'm going to beat you to death." About 2 days later, I left the little swimming pool park, and I was about 10, I guess. And I was walking by the fire department in Austin. And there's this little baby kitten on the grass. I said, "Kitty, kitty, kitty." And I walked a little bit. I said, "Kitty, kitty, kitty." I got home, kitty cat's there. I said, "Mom, look what followed me home." She said, "I told you not to carry on." I said, "I didn't carry it. It followed me."
Oh my. Well, I think you're doing anything we have failed to touch on that you would like to mention before we close out on this.
I'd just like everybody to know, if you're looking for a pet, please go to a shelter. Don't go out and buy an animal. There are so many animals that die every day just because they
We
don't
need
have
a home. We need a
You
home.
know, they don't have a home. They're going to die every day.
Yeah.
You know, if if you want to adopt an animal, take your time. Make sure. Come 2 or 3 times. You know, like at my little shelter, there's no danger of that dog being gone tomorrow. You know, the deputy sheriff, Eastland County deputy sheriff, adopted 2 dogs from me this week. I had a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old German Shepherd turned in together by their owner who had to move away. He came 3 times and visited with those dogs. And then he sent his wife down there to get them because he got called out of town to go pick up the prisoner.
Right,
But he met his appointment.
right.
He sent his wife down there to pick up those dogs. He is thrilled with those dogs. Those dogs already love him.
Right.
And they only had to spend 2 days in my shelter.
That's a gift.
That's
Absolutely.
wonderful because those dogs had been raised in one home their whole life. And they were...
Well, this happens to a lot of people. They move to a new location, they move to a place where they can't have pets and
Yes,
so
sir.
forth.
And this poor man had to give up his dogs because he had to move away from here to go take a job,
Yeah.
and he was going to be living in an apartment for quite an extended
Well,
period.
Connie, I want to thank you for coming and sharing with us, and I hope that a lot of people have seen and heard and know what you're doing, and will, you know, help you do what you're doing. And to others, nonprofits and organizations who would like to participate in this open session that we have every Friday, check with either Jason or the office here, and we'll try to schedule you in for the same kind of visit and to let people know what's going on. That's our job, and we want to offer our help to nonprofits and others who are trying to do better for this area. Thank you again for coming.
Thank
Appreciate
you. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.